I get shit done, I have fun, it's my time and I'm the one. I'm breaking through.
Technology shortcuts to help in business. I'm not a techno expert geek. Maybe some of my panelists are. This is the once a month we do a panel discussion in around business related topics. So today's topic is technology shortcuts to help in business. I'm thinking we might even talk about some things you might not want to do, but we'll see what happens with the four of us get on here live. I'll let them introduce themselves when we get there. But before we do that, I get to do a shameless plug. Here it comes. Pay attention. Make a note if you need. And remember, at the end of this, there's nothing to buy. That's right. No credit card required. Just go to my website, coachphil.ca. At the top right-hand side is a button. Click on the button. Answer the questions to the business growth score. And you may be surprised you're doing everything right. Awesome. Or reaffirm it. Or you might find that there's something in there that's just nagging at you and you just want a hand with it. So again, a 20-minute complimentary coaching call. No credit card required with myself. And if I can't resolve it, I'm part of a network. I can make an introduction. Speaking of introductions, let's get on with today's show. I'm going to bring up these three lovely ladies, leaders, and friends. Here they all come, not in any particular order. They're all important. Going around the horn, I better suggest who it is because you're probably in different places. But welcome to the Business Renovator. I'm going to get you to do your introductions yourself. Just be easier. Kristen, I'll start with you.
Awesome. I'm Kristen Carlson. I'm also a Focal Point business and executive coach, and I help business owners unlock and harvest that wealth in their business.
And let's go to Melanie.
Hi, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whether you're joining us live or for replays. I'm a business attraction and an event success coach who loves helping you shorten the incline to create conversations and attract business.
And Mickey. And before I do it, Melanie, welcome. I forgot to welcome Kristen. My bad. It's Rusty Monday for Phil. Mickey.
My name is Mickey Mikeworth, and I am a business strategist, but betterwise known as your favorite math geek.
And one of the catalysts for having the panel groups initiated about a year ago, and then me, procrastinated, and I got a nudge from the lovely Mickey saying, "Where are we? I'm missing these." So here we are. We're rejuvenating it for the balance of the year. There will be one, I believe, every month this year, and then we're also looking at next year. So if there's a topic that you would like to have the panel discuss, shoot me a note, and we'll look at making that happen. Today's topic, though, just to repeat, technology shortcuts to help in business. And I've got Troy R. Chadwick's voice in my head. He was just on the show talking about technology hacks. We're promoting an event in LA. It's a unique mastermind group with Win with Rami, and he's a living legend, and he's a student and a teacher of the Think and Grow Rich principles. So Troy and I were doing we had a session about a week ago for about an hour talking about that in the event. And Troy, I just realized I'm not doing what Troy told me to do. So when I'm speaking to you out there, I'm to look at the camera versus my eye for my behavioral styles. I like to see who's here, and I'm talking to you. See, so that looks less like I'm not really. He told me this looks like I'm not paying attention. Why am I talking about this? This is a technology shortcut to improve on. So in order to engage with my audience, I need to be looking at the camera. It's so hard to do though, because I like looking
So
at
hard to do.
Anyway, if you're doing these kind of things, or if you're on a one-to-one, the technology hack is look at the camera. It's not like in real life where you can look at the person. You need to look at the camera because then they feel watched. Important. I'll throw it over to you guys. What are some of your shortcuts for technology to better business? Who would like to jump in?
You just taught me one today, Phil. As we went live today in StreamYard, the opportunity to share your broadcast on other platforms. So I'm delighted today to have learned that aha as we're talking about this topic. I think the thing I used to think I was allergic to technology, and it's a reminder. And thanks, Kristen, for joining us. I used to think I was allergic to technology, and it's a real reminder to stay as Phil would say, and my coaches have said, stay fully present. Figure out whether we want to explore it or not. Like a couple of weeks ago, everybody was talking about threads. It wasn't the right time for me. I knew it wasn't the right time for me. I'm already trying to learn a massive new platform for my business to scale. It wasn't the time for anything new. And I think understanding what makes you comfortable or what your team or others can help you support as an entrepreneur, as a person, what Mickey would say in math, what formula can our brain stand? I knew one more piece of information was not the thing for me. You could talk about threads, you can talk about threads all day and all night, but I knew it was not for me and not ready. So I think that's the place I think I start in business is this the right thing for me or my team and right now?
You know what I like about that? Of course you don't, because I haven't told you yet. I'm going to tell you what I like about that. What I like about that is what are the things we should probably stay away from, right? Does it serve us? So I like that idea. You're saying that threads is not, it's there, it's there, but you're going to focus on other things. That's the same as me. Thoughts, comments, ladies?
I agree. I think it's overwhelming, right? All the things that we could be adopting and learning. So picking and choosing is really important so we can understand that technology. I think Phil has introduced me to a really cool one though that I have adopted, and that's Fathom to record notes. And I think that helps me stay present in the meetings I'm having because I'm not trying to take notes as fast as I possibly can when I'm working with my clients. Now I can really just sit back and really engage in that conversation with them and let Fathom take those notes in the background. And it also provides that summary at the end too, which is easy to tweak or cut and paste. And you can send those notes to your client also or whoever's on the call.
Yeah, and what I like about Fathom is everything you said. So some other things I've learned from it is it will do an AI summation. I think that's what you're talking about. Then I copy and paste that, and I put it somewhere else. I put it into something called Lumen, and Lumen 5, and I create the video of the content in there, and I can use all of the words in there slide by slide, or I can get the AI within Lumen to reduce it even more, add music, and then post it. So I've done that. I didn't do it for today, but last time I had a guest on my 30-minute show, I tried something different. Instead of me doing an introduction, typically I'll have an intro and introduce, go look at the camera. My voice just, look at the camera, Phil. See, I'm learning. Is to, instead of reading out an introduction, which I've typically done, what we tried this last time, was I had created a short 60-second video that talked about my guest and what she brought to the marketplace, and I'm going to try that, and she really liked it, so I might do that more often. The aluminum slide that was created by me leveraging technology created the introduction, and then she's got a piece of content as well, so it was a double whammy. Who else has got something they want to bring on to
Well,
the
you saw my eyes go down because I just went, why don't we just ask, AI to help us? AI is something that's there, but as a business strategist, the number one thing that I tell everybody, it is, as a strategist, we look at complex problems, right? So I like things that are big and scary and kind of overwhelming. That if it's super intimidating, I'm going to really enjoy that. And the first question you ask for super complex, really difficult, mind-bending things is not what's broken, is what's working. So when I look at technology, and what we're talking about today is the first place to start is to go, and what is working? And that kind of gives you a way to put a bunch of stuff to the side. And you can either say, look, if these are the things that are working, I'm going to add on to these things because they're already going well, as opposed to going to all the should haves and could haves and the stuff that I, kind of got to catch up on. You get a negative return on stuff that isn't already working. So, right, like Phil, you had talked about, well, I'm already meeting with clients. Let me work on what I do really, really well and add a tool there to make it work even better, because you already understand it. It's already something that already has a solve. It's already working. It's easy to identify with. So when we're talking about technology, that's my recommendation, is to start looking at what's going well. And then, is there a technology that can support you in that space first?
I love that. I've added something in that realm of supporting the relationships and connections, and it's on this. I don't have my business card yet, but it's on here. I have it. Can you see that? It's a digital card, so I can share my information, and in addition to that, I can ask them to put their information in it. Then it goes into my phone, and then with the click of a button, it goes into one of the other pieces of technology I have, a CRM. And the CRM system is not your accounting system. And I'm finding that about 80% of businesses, small businesses, think that's their nurturing program. Here's an invoice. And they don't get it paid. 30 days later, please pay the invoice. And then the next one is, please pay the invoice now. This is like 60 days out, and then 120 days out. Pay the damn invoice. That is not a CRM system nurturing. That's an accounting system collecting. And you need to collect. You need to have a system for that too, and leverage technology. But a CRM system is a customer relationship management tool, which will do a whole bunch of great things: nurture, send out emails, create not pods, but posts. And having a digital card, I wished I had the one that I ordered. It looks like a credit card. It looks about that size, but it uses, just like a debit card. You can swipe onto the iPhone. And if you don't have an iPhone and Android, it uses a QR code. So the QR code on my phone there, you could go click on that and be added to my database, which is really important, because one of the things I decided to do today was expand who I know and who knew me. So I've joined another organization called BX Networking. And I've met a wonderful group of people there. And the way to stay on top of them is get their data and get their information and take control of who I'm going to follow up with, not trust they're going to follow up with me, because people have big hearts, but they're so busy they forget about me. So it's up to me to take responsibility to stay in touch with them. I use a CRM system to help me do that. Once I go in the system, I push a button, and my whole system communicates to them. I didn't create this. There's a lot of people doing this way better than I am. I'm just borrowing ideas, leveraging from other people.
That's the big new system that I'm adopting and just learning right now. And I think, as you would say, I love what Mickey said about the really big things and to really figure out what's working. You'll laugh. Just like I was talking about threads, I just signed up for ChatGPT last week. And I was working on a post on LinkedIn, and it's a poll. I've gotten certified in trust and in 2 certifications. And as you know, from a coaching or just a life perspective, when we're learning stuff, it kind of is exploding in our heads what we're excited about. And I needed to dial some of the enthusiasm back in a post, because people will be like, why in the world is she on steroids about trust? And So to calm it down a little bit from a post perspective, I asked ChatGPT to help me with poll options. Now I edited them. It's a Mel post. It's not a ChatGPT post. What I laughed at was I learned from using ChatGPT that the first suggestion that I put in, which I totally changed the other ones, but the first one is totally a Mel comment based on people's comments they share with me. I'm laughing in the poll because that's what people are voting for. So it's a real reminder that how we use AI to reflect what others are sharing with us in discovery calls or client experiences or collaborators, that I now have a frame to try and use it. On the other hand, I didn't know how to use it. So I've been in someone's training for months about it. And I'm finally like, I've got a question I'd like to ask. And that, as Mickey's saying, take something bigger, make it smaller and bite-sized, and then try and use it. But it's funny because people keep sending me ChatGPT stuff. They're sending trainings, they're sending join Discord groups, join Slack communities. And like Mickey would say, for some of the big stuff, and especially the technology, I love that Phil is reminding me the CRM is a place to put it, because it's just tremendous amounts of data, to process, or tremendous amounts of information. And you want to find a healthy way to use it to help other people and help ourselves.
Yeah, and there's a ton of information, and trying to build relationships with people if we don't write it down somewhere. However you do that with the CRM system or elsewhere, you're likely to forget a lot of the details. To the point we're talking about Chat GPT, there was something that came into my consciousness through, I think, TikTok, and it said, put this prompt in whenever you're doing something with Chat GPT. It says, before you start, as you're talking to Chat GPT, before you start, please ask me any questions that you may need answered to best solve my problem. And my gosh, let me tell you, that make an impact on something that I'm working on. Came back with 5-6 questions. What would my recipient of what I'm writing, putting together, want to know? So I'm talking to it like it's living. Anyway, I treat it like my mastermind brainstorming collaborative partner. And what I find is it gives me ideas and things that I hadn't thought of, or tweaks what I've been thinking about to take to another level. So by asking those questions, it gets me to think, who am I wanting to reach? What are their challenges that they're facing? So I started answering that, and then I put that back into ChatGPT, and it created a whole bunch of other stuff. I have 12 Word doc pages that I'm filtering through to get it down to one-page email. But man, the ideas it came up with, I was overwhelmed. And I talked to a buddy. Okay, this is using the phone for technology. Talking to a buddy how we could do this, and he gave me some ideas. So I'm going to distill the great information that my buddy ChatGPT came up with, so that I could address the concerns, so that the person I want to see this understands what the value is for them and the people they serve. That was a long-winded addition to what you were talking about, Mel, but that's, you just got me jacked up.
It's not long-winded, and honestly, like you would say, we need people like you who are ahead of us to share your experiences with how to use the platform. You develop best practices, you develop do's and don'ts, you invite us in by sharing, referral codes and things like that. I think that's really helpful. So thank you.
You're welcome. I'm glad you think I'm way ahead, and I'm just scratching the surface. There's a ton of people that know a lot more about this than I have. But I'm okay with that. I mean, I'm just doing what I can with it to make it better for me and my prospective clients and my current clients. I even have it write emails for me. Not Word. I don't write copy and paste. I do, but into Notepad, so that I take it out of all of the crap that holds it in hostage, so that I can edit it better. So I put it into a text editing like Notepad, and then I put it back into Word, and then I edit it to have my persona in it, right? And then add the links where it says put YouTube link here, and it's in the right place, but you got to tell it what YouTube link. And it's speaking not in my language yet. It's speaking in its language. So we need to make sure we're not just asking a question, having it write it, and then copy and paste it and send it out. That's not very good. It's got to be us.
You know what I like about that is that, right, like we have to have a system. So whatever technology you're using, right, ChatGPT is one of them, but you really have to decide, right? It starts here. It starts here. All of us are self-employed. All of us are self-employed. We all own companies. And you have to start right here to say how this is a tool, right? This is a tool. And where is it applicable? Where is it going to bring the greatest amount of benefit, wisdom, right? When we look at wisdom, it's learning, it's experiences, it's thoughts, right? ChatGPT will never give you that, right? It'll never give you your learning. It'll never give you your experiences. It'll never tell us your thoughts. What it will do is it'll align other fragments of information so that you can decide, is it right for you? Is it right for you? But ChatGPT will never bring all of that wisdom forward. I ask it a lot of times about strategy for business, and it's clear it does not know how to run a business. Can it make ad copy? Absolutely. But can it actually give you strategy on what to do in a negative cash flow environment? No. It doesn't know how to sell dog food.
And I was talking to a buddy of mine last night, actually partner in business, and he plays around with it. He's more into it than I am currently. And he's also a math geek like you, and he loves numbers. And he said what he's found out is that when it first came out, it was okay. ChatGPT was okay with math. It's actually gotten worse. Yeah, that's what I heard. So be careful what you trust with the technology that you use, whether it be ChatGPT or anything else. Check it out first.
Even a voicemail.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Even a voicemail. This is all technology. Remember when we were like, oh my gosh, what if I put it in the cloud? Right?
Clouds where rain comes from.
Yeah, they used to be. Now they're a commodity.
Yeah, exactly.
Kristen, are you using ChatGPT? Are you using any of these techniques in your business?
I've used it a little. And what I've learned just in the last week, that the free ChatGPT is like from 2021 data. So I think you have to pay to get more current information, and then you have to train it. So I was in a class where we were trying to train it to know who we were and who ChatGPT was. So we didn't reverse roles. So I found it pretty interesting.
Yeah. And so I also kind of wonder, like, what's the technology that's working for you right now? Podcasts, wow, those are working.
Yes, they are. I got an email notice from what's the organization? It's not ChatGPT. That's in my head. vidIQ, and the Business Renovator has reached 10,000 views. Woo! I know.
Awesome.
So that was nice.
Congratulations and happy toast, smiles across the miles.
Right. I will toast my water drink here with you.
But that's because of people like you that are on here over the course of time. I did check one time. I think I'm about 300. I'm not. The Business Renovator is at about 360 episodes. So that's kind of cool. And
I like the new micro ones. I like the new little short bits in there.
Oh, the snippets.
You're upgrading. Yeah.
Yes, I have a wonderful woman who specializes in doing that. And she does a really good job. And it's also on Spotify. Not all of them. We picked the ones that make sense to be on Spotify, the ones where I was looking at the camera, all that kind of stuff. Anyway, like I say, this is raw. So you're going to see me at my worst and at my best. So, and every disaster was once, look at that, I messed that up. T. Harv Eker says, every master was once a disaster. Not the other way around. So there you go. I'm human. I make mistakes. But we just shake them off and carry on and learn from the lessons and try not to do them again. I also have some things. What do you do any video editing anywhere somehow? How do you do that, Mickey? Do you have somebody do it for you? Do you have a tool?
All of the above. I do a lot of art. I do a lot of visual art. So I have a secret identity name called Prosperity Habit. So I do a lot of art in general. So I like video editing in general because I like little slideshows or stuff like that. And I have a lot of teaching that's online. I have a mastermind group that meets every month, so that goes online. But some things it's just easier to hire someone to do snippets or something like that. If I'm editing a video in general, I'm editing it for artistic use, not necessarily because I'm there to teach you how to be a business strategist.
Do you have a favorite tool that you use to do that with?
So on a lot of things, I like a program called Animoto. It's inexpensive. It's like $250 a year. But they have a lot of slideshows. It's a way. So for me, I can do like a quick 3-minute art show to just take all the art I've done all year and just go, hey, if you'd like to see what I'm creating for fun, here's what it is. Or if I have a special event, I can take my still, because that I like to do still photography. So it's a way to make that more interesting. But they have lots of pre-made marketing materials in that as well. And you're going to see a lot more of that. I mean, there's so many reels tools out there now. You're going to see that market, I think, go bonkers.
Yeah, I agree. How about Kristen or Melanie? Do you do any video editing or content development with video?
I have not.
Okay.
How about Melanie?
I am delighted to have met the amazing Carla Sellers.
Carla, who?
Carla Sellers is my video primary wizard. She's one of my wizards. I'm grateful before meeting Carla to meet Rick Scherer of Network Fusion, who helped me package my first digital products, like take a live, or I was doing hybrid events. So a live event that had a virtual component, and then we'd repackage it as a digital product. So Rick helped me with that. Carla helps me like today, and on Monday, I go live once a week on LinkedIn, and Carla's editing that. And then with the help of another team member, they're then taking it and turning it into reels. So I haven't done my first reel yet, which Jonathan Howard is encouraging me to do it in my own voice and teach me how to edit. And I appreciate him for his patience. He's been trying for 2 years. It'll take some time. But I appreciate knowing, as we say, and Mickey, you're really going to help me with that frame from the big projects. When it's a big project, there's somebody I need to invite in to support, whether it's to investigate it, to see whether it fits right, whether it's kind of like Cinderella with the shoe. Is this a good shoe for me to try on? Because sometimes I think there's so many options that it's hard to select from. But video editing, from what I've seen from the back end, from watching Rick edit 6-hour training down into probably 2.5 hours, it is so not a space where Mel should spend her time.
Right.
And I think it's, I wouldn't say never, but not for me to try yet.
Yeah.
And I echo what you talk about with Carla. She's amazing. She is so passionate about what she does that it's brilliant. So I thank you, Mel, for making that introduction, since I've been working with her for quite a while. It's been great.
Truly my pleasure. And hi, Carla. We hope your ears are burning.
If you're watching the replay, Carla, put your information in.
Yeah, absolutely.
Put that
I
information.
actually use a tool called Camtasia, is what I do. And I have done some editing myself. When it gets into serious other stuff, I
And what is
rely
that
on
word you're saying? It's Camtasia?
Camtasia. So Camtasia.
Well, I'm
It's
going to have to
a
look that up today.
it's a really good tool. I've done a whole bunch of things with it, but I've hired people to do my editing. What I find is if you get a good one, they're great, and if you get a other one, they're not. And when you ask them to take the ahs and ums and the gaps out, they do. So it goes there's no breath. They take everything out and bump conversations up. That's not a good. That's a hack to stay away. Make sure the person that's doing it understands you want it to sound like a human, not a robot.
Right.
So be careful who you choose. But so Camtasia is a way to do it. If it's just audio, another tool that I use sometimes is Audacity, and it'll take different formats and allow you to convert them into another format so that you can use them in other ways. I don't use that as much anymore, but I still do use it from time to time. And the other thing, it's not video, but we've talked about Fathom, which is a brilliant, one of my favorite tools, but it only works in Zoom. And Zoom's another platform of technology that I use to
Right.
the nth degree. I use it for meetings. I use it for training. I use it for networking meetings. It's just, and actually LinkedIn's another one for that. But Fathom only works in the Zoom world. It doesn't work anywhere else. And some places won't let you use it. So there's other tools out there. The other one I use to help me with my note taking is Otter. Otter, I think it's .ai, Otter AI. I think that's what it is. I just click on a link and it works automatically. And it will record you can bring it in and have it record, which is the best way to do it. The second best way is you put a mic on and you can record that way and transcribe the meeting and take what you need out of it later. Use it for good. Please don't use it for bad. Anybody can do either or. Use everything we're talking about for good, not for bad. And the other thing I found too is if there's a recording I want that I've heard of a speaker or actually anything, you can drop that into Otter, the audio, the video, and it'll transcribe it. That's actually probably the best way to get a quality reproduction and transcription of the words. So then I'll take that and turn it into content. I'm not plagiarizing. I'm just using it for note taking, and I give credit where credit is due. So there's another tool that I use. And I'm going to pass it on.
And just one more word about Fathom. It does integrate with HubSpot. So if that's your CRM, and that's kind of what tipped my scales. Like, okay, now I can also use it in my CRM and save those conversations there.
That's brilliant.
And tell me how you use HubSpot.
Yeah.
HubSpot is my CRM.
Oh,
so
Hub.
Yes. Yep.
Okay. I thought you were. I forgot the. I didn't quite hear the H. So HubSpot. Yes.
Correct. Yes.
So go ahead and tell our listeners what that is.
Yeah, HubSpot is one of the CRM tools out there. They do have a free version, but we're also integrating it in our focal point practices. So they're adding some specific things for us to use in our tracking our deals and tracking our sales process. So that's really helpful. And then we can also send out those messages to our contacts, or what we call our champions network, to keep them warm.
Yeah. I think for everybody, like the first thing that they're learning how to use is probably a cloud, right? How do I put something in the cloud? I think CRM is probably the number 2 that people are really using is, I have to be able to keep that, or some sort of database in general. I think that people are using that if I were going to say, what's the technology you should start with today, right now, the only thing is you've got to get a hold of your database.
I agree. And I want to add on to that because I think you're right. For startups who are not familiar with CRM systems, it can be a daunting task. It can be slow you down, stop you in your tracks. A simple spreadsheet with first name, last name, phone numbers, email address, website, all that stuff
Yeah.
in a spreadsheet is a database. Pardon me,
Yeah.
database, a database. I'm speaking in my language. I like data. You like data. It really doesn't really matter. Anyway, creating a spreadsheet, then once you get to a place where it's a daunting task to manage the spreadsheet, you can then put that into your CRM system of choice.
Yeah.
So don't buy a CRM, because what I've run into is a lot of people that want to get into technology. They buy all the technology and get tied up in their money with that. They haven't they haven't completed a proof of concept whether there's anybody who really wants to have it, and is there financial support for your idea, or people just go, yeah, no thanks, but I'm not into it. So, and they spend all this money, time, and energy to get all this technology they don't even need because there's no market for it. So be careful what you get into. Do your due diligence first, right?
Well, and that is also one of the beautiful parts of, like, Melanie, I watch you do this a lot, where you invite people into the conversation, right? That you'll say, hey, I'm doing this, and, come meet with me on something, or I'll have you'll just have a topic and everybody can jump in. And it's amazing how much you will learn by just asking people, is this interesting? Is this a good topic? And to do that, you have to be able to know your social networks. And those are a technology tool.
I think also, like you say, the leaning in, like I'm appreciative. I run a small mastermind, and one of my mastermind guests sent Otter to our mastermind. What I loved was we don't record it because sometimes somebody's there, as you would say, working on a proof of concept, and we're trying to help them get to the point, where in the beginning, maybe they don't know us that well. So we're trying to get to know each other as well as get to know ways to support each other. But the process of the Otter transcript coming in, occasionally we're sharing what Phil's saying, the content that should be repurposed as a post. And what I'm learning now is from one of my collaborators using Otter is Carla's now helping me use it when I'm on someone's podcast. So when I'm on a podcast and someone shares a copy of the recording with me, and one of them, it was 94 minutes. I had to do this manually. And the file could not be put into a transcript. So manually, I did it. It took me about 3 hours. I learned that day, wow, there's nuggets in here. Or Carla, and I appreciate her, she calls them melisms. I have no idea. I appreciate her for the term. There's things that we say that we're not, we don't necessarily repeat. They're not, maybe it's a new concept. Maybe you're explaining a new service for the first time, but it's a way to kind of share the ahas. Because I think sometimes, I appreciate being around an amazing supportive community. We're testing stuff. We're not necessarily sure that the spaghetti or or the squash pasta is going to hit the wall yet. So just that process of being able to collect to analyze some of the information. I love what you said too about the CRM. I was ready earlier and moved away from it. And I think it is a matter, like we're saying, of choices based on your stage in business and based on the level of support and based on really what you can afford. Because I love what Phil said. I was an Excel girl. I was a spreadsheet girl. I still have tons of spreadsheets. I'm grateful for them on Google Sheets, or on my phone, where I finally have just installed Excel because I had a spreadsheet with about 300 lines. And I just needed Google to stop playing with it. So, I use it there, but I think how we use it, whether we use it while we're away from our desktop, while you're in a meeting, as Phil's doing, I love it at live events. I'm smiling. The QR codes are so back. They're in fashion or in vogue. I mean, in the beginning,
Can you believe it? I thought they were going to die.
Yeah, same. I thought the same thing.
But during the pandemic, they people started putting them on our televisions to get us to help, and ways to get us to help others or donate to a not-for-profit or investigate a call for action. It's a way to share a link other than, like Bitly. You don't need a link shortener. It takes someone there and then it asks them, do they want to go there?
Yeah.
So, it helps with, I think some of the parts that help with the calls to connect, which is something Rick taught me a while ago. So as opposed to, I'm not allergic to calls to action, but if it's a call to connect or reconnect or stay in touch, if there's a way to use it to kind of shorten that process, those are the doorways that I'm like, let's lean in. Time to learn this.
Right. That I also advise to a type of math called blockchain. And what is great about that is that I've done a lot of article writing for them and kind of explaining how we would use this math, and I've been writing it also so the government can read it, and just so people can understand how that math technology is used. And what is interesting is if I just put in the topic and a QR code, somebody will be like, "Oh, yeah, that's interesting. Let me look at that." But I really did pre-COVID. I thought, I don't think anybody gets how important these are. Like I kind of felt bad for them, but they really are everywhere right now. But that took 10 years. That took 10 years.
There was a lot of interest and excitement around them. Like you said, they looked like they died off, and now they're back. When I was off camera, they're looking around, and I thought I had a number of QR code pieces right in front of me, but I've moved them, so I'm not going to go get them. But that's really cool. Well, I was at the football game, and what have they done? You don't know because you weren't there, so I'll tell you. On the arms of the chairs, every other arm, there's a QR code promoting their 50/50 ticket sales. And you could just, if you didn't want to do it right away, you could do the QR code. It opens up a landing page, and then you could buy the ticket, and you had up until the end of the night to buy them. So if you wanted to support the cause that the football team's supporting, you could do that because half goes to the group that's supporting that particular night, and then the other half goes to you if you win. And there you are with a QR code, and you don't even need a QR code reader anymore. They simplified it. Just use your camera on your phone.
Just use your camera. Can I give you my new weird piece of technology that I'm loving?
I would hope you would.
It's they are called World Virtual Tours. They're super tiny, but they are. You can sign up for them, and it's somebody who's live in that space. So they pick famous places all over the world, and they will, with their camera, do a live tour of, Madrid or whatever. But that's all done by archaeologists.
Oh.
So it's how do you take these archaeologists with all this great information, put them into a space that is archaeologically interesting, and then just let them be. You get 1 hour, it's live. If their cell coverage is terrible, oops, it's not. And they're free. They work for tips only. But it is this really interesting use of technology so that many people can have a live experience in a place that's real virtually with their own private tour guide. And you can ask them questions at the end. So they will take, just like this thing where people can ask us a question live, they can put in the questions later and we'll still respond.
That's fascinating. You're taking me back to a book that was written called The Popcorn Effect.
Oh, I don't know that book either.
It's an old one, but it was talking about how we would live in cocoons. Packages would be brought to us. Things would be like what we're living right now. You've got that company, where we buy stuff and it shows up on a doorstep. And now if you've got their other device on your desk, it'll tell you it's on your front step. It's been delivered. And then they're promoting other products that they think you might want to buy, even if you don't want to. So the popcorn, I forget when that was written, the 80s, early 90s, late 80s, early 90s. So it's pretty old, but it was way ahead of our time at that time. Who would have thought we would be talking on this thing and taking pictures with a computer? Because essentially that's what this is. And I sold technology. I was working for a high-tech company. It didn't have the power. I sold mainframes. And it couldn't take pictures. And there was no internet. and phones were still plugged in a wall for the most part. Right. So things have really evolved.
And you're going to be through those first 3 versions of the web, right? Web 1 was read only.
Right.
Web 2 was, into social connection. And now Web 3 is really when it becomes tools.
Yeah.
Tools that we use. And so you'll really see in just our short lifetime, so much more technology as a tool.
I'm following a fellow by the name of Remy, a Win with Remy. He's doing an event in September. It's a mastermind of an extraordinary kind. Hang out with 500 people. Somebody's going to get their business idea selected, and then he's going to coach, mentor them for 2 years. And for everybody that showed up gets a share of the business. So he or she whose business wins this, we all win, but whoever's business is selected will get 50% off. And the balance, 40% of the balance would go to the people who bought a ticket and showed up and hung out with them for 2 years. And 10% goes to the Napoleon Hill Foundation. And one of the things Remy was talking about, he says, yeah, there's this concern about AI could be the demise of society. And it could be the end of us because it could be, the black side of people and AI and whatnot. And
sure.
Something and it ends the world. And he says, and if that happens, don't worry, because we'll all be dead. So it doesn't matter. So keep pursuing what's important to you. So I thought, wow, I'm really looking forward to hanging out with him and 498 other people.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's very interesting. And where are you guys meeting?
LA on the 8th, 9th, and 10th. I don't have anything in this chat to put it in where to go, but if you go to a site called Win with Ramy, and that's spelled RAMY.com, you'll get all the information. Actually, Kristen's got the link already.
And we can always put it into the comment section after it's loaded.
There we go.
Well, I'm going to have to learn how to do that.
Yeah, you can just write a comment on your own post.
Oh, there I go.
and when you have a chance, now that you've taught me how to StreamYard, which I'm absolutely loving. It was one of the reasons why friends were encouraging me to check out Restream. I'm really delighted that StreamYard has added this option to kind of increase their competitive edge. But I'm smiling because the opportunity, thanks again for inviting us, but the opportunity to then share your gems into my own group on Meta and to my own business page, it kind of helps us increase our reach. So thanks for the reminder. And I promise I will get great links from Phil to reshare it in both places.
What I like about what you're saying there is that it reminds me not to be publicly grateful to Mickey, because at the beginning of the year, my energy around doing this had dropped. Not that I didn't want to do it, but just some things got into my head and some choices I made and whatnot. And I found that I wanted to kind of do it, but I kind of wasn't doing it. And Mickey gave me a nudge via technology, email. And if it wasn't for her nudges, I'm not sure we would have been here quite yet today. It might have been later, if at all. So I'm grateful to you, Mickey, for pushing me to continue on with these things. So we're all human. We all need other people to help support us, and we can support other people. And that's what my intent in these sessions, whether it be the panels or when I'm doing the shorter versions with a one-on-one guest, is the same thing. Because the messages and the ideas that come from the brain power that people together, it's one of the principles out of Think and Grow Rich, the mastermind principle. You get multiple minds, right? So
yeah.
So thank you. Much appreciated.
Mickey, thank you just in general. It's not, and Kristen's about to pop back and join us too.
And, yeah,
it looks like, which is fantastic.
Kristen's got to come back in.
Yeah,
there she is.
I'm getting there.
I just really wanted to say thank you, Mickey, for it's not just encouragement. It's not just support, but for inspiration. I haven't had a chance to really thank you for that personally. So
wow, I love all this today. Thank you so much.
I think Phil's really reaching on something important. We all need amazing energy to help us figure out which track sometimes is right for us, what others feel or suggest is working, we're sometimes too close to see that. But I really appreciate what Phil said with vulnerability and transparency. We really do need to reach out, let people know what is important, or that they make a difference. I thank Phil all the time for being my PQ godfather, my positive intelligence godfather. And I love it because I've been calling him my PQ godfather for like 16, 17 months. Look at that, winwithramy.com.
Yeah, I'd forgotten I had it in
Phil's
the
learning
banner.
his technology right now, everybody. So like you can just put a clap in the comment section.
Yeah, exactly. That's funny. It was there all the time. I had Troy R. Chadwick, this fellow.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like we should just write anything in there that you want now.
It's amazing. This fellow is amazing. So there's a replay on the Business Renovator channel with myself and Troy talking about the event. But if guys and gals, if you go to this, there's some nuggets in there, whether you go to LA and participate or not. You'll get the 13 chapters of Ramy's book of Can You Really Think and Grow Rich? And Troy took each chapter and discusses it like it's brilliant. And then there's Remy will show up at for most of them for anywhere for a short bit of time to a couple of hours and share what he's learned with the principles of Think and Grow Rich. So having a living being in our existence to hear how he went from living on the street, being in hospitals, being chased by the U.S. government, to be incarcerated because they wanted to throw him in jail. He didn't do anything bad, but he looks like a bad person. He looks like Middle Eastern descent because that's where he's from. So they judged the book by its cover. Anyway, he's a generous individual. He's a billionaire, and he's doing this for really. There's no fee except join the mastermind and be part of this business. So the worst case is when the business is successful, you'll get the money back. But the worst case is you go and hang out with these mastermind people, much the same as we are here. And the brain power from that, what could come out of this? I'm so excited. I am so excited about being able to go to.
The brain power part is also what I like about what's happening right now.
Exactly.
Right? Is every time I come on, I end up like with a page of notes of great ideas that all of you have brought. And I know that if I'm bringing them, so are our guests. That we always have a book we didn't read. That is the benefit of all of us being together, is that there's just so much content in what we're doing as a group.
That is so true.
Okay. And I'm here to learn from all of you. So I appreciate what you've shared today and inspire me also. So thank you.
Thank you. Now, we are almost coming to the end. Technology, anybody doing a lot of books? What about Audible? I mean, are you reading? Is that a piece of technology that you're counting as a tool? And
yes,
definitely.
And I use something called Scribed, which is an app that you don't ever buy the books, you never own them, you're renting them. So you subscribe to Scribe, or Scribd, whatever it is. It's SCRIBD. I have an affiliate link, but I don't care. I get a free month if you subscribe. Just go do it. You can get digital books. You can get audios of the books, snippets, summaries. Not every book's there, but most of the ones I want. And then if they're not there, I go to Audible to pick up the one if I can't get it.
Yeah. I do the same.
Oh, you're a Scribed person too?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. And what are you reading? Or listening to?
Right now, I'm listening to the ultimate. What's it called? Hang on. The Napoleon Hill one. And it's called. It'll be right on my phone, right at the top of it. It's not happening as fast. There it is. Where did it go? Anyway, it was top of mind because I was listening to it the other day, and it's the ultimate It's the ultimate Napoleon Hill principles, I think is what it's called.
Wow.
The ultimate Napoleon Hill library is what it's called.
Great. Kristen, what are you listening to?
And this is one that Phil has recommended for me, but it's Personal Coaching for Results, Lou Tice.
Oh, yeah. That's a good.
So Phil quotes a lot of Lou Tice.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
He's gotten into my head.
And wow, that's great. And Melanie, what are you reading?
I am reading. I'm a teacher's kid or daughter of a scholar. Someone taught me, and Audible puts me to sleep. So I am reading actual. I've got tons of books here, but I'm currently reading Interconnectivity, Flow, and Balance by Yvette Bethel, who offered the trust certifications that I'm now certified in. And it's a really cool book about organizations and balancing our trust ecosystems within them. So it's a book about three laws, fundamental laws, and she writes about her IFB method: interconnectivity, flow, and balance.
Oh, it sounds great. And what's the name of that book again?
It is called. So it is
there it
truly
is.
right here.
Oh, thank you. Oh, that looks great.
It is fantastic. I've become a trust ambassador. I mean, I've even added a hashtag about trust. And on my lives now, I'm starting to talk about them once a month, but using it as tools to work with individuals and organizations to help them increase their trust opportunities, their trust willingness, and run circles of trust to kind of increase productivity and engagement.
That's fantastic. We Kristen and I were in Cincinnati, and we had a presenter talking about trust. So that's pretty cool that you're talking about that. It's a big part of the puzzle. And everything I do is about helping people build a rapport and trust and respect. And the one quote I love, if I can find it here, I can say it without putting it on the screen, but I'm going to put it on the screen because I found it. No one cares about you until they know how much you care about them. Trust, right?
True that.
Any nuggets that you would like to impart on us as a group or our audience? Nikki?
Well, I mean, we're getting ready to kind of go. One, we'll see you again soon, right? Come on back. Thanks for showing up. Please hit the like. Please subscribe. And again, my message for everyone is look at what's working first when it comes to technology. Look at what is working, put that down on your list, and then start your tech from there. And if you don't have a database, get one. You've got to put names on a piece of paper.
Yeah, it's a great place to start.
Mickey's reminding me. Thanks for having us all, but Mickey's reminding me really the process of staying fully present, no matter what form of technology we're using, to always have a pen nearby, whether it's Evernote, whether it's your voice recorder, and let others know that you're recording their voice.
Yeah.
But to just stay fully present, because I've got some to-do homework here, and I'm very grateful because I'll call my tech guru this afternoon. So I appreciate it. I've got my next 3 questions while setting up the CRM. But thanks for the inspiration to kind of stay with it. We really need that. And thanks, Phil, for inviting us.
Hey, you're welcome. Thanks for showing up.
Thanks.
Kristen, any last words you have?
No, that I think it's continually evolving too, right? So sharing those nuggets that help you in your business everyone can benefit. So
cool. Well, thank you.
Thanks for having us.
And thanks for making this what it was today. I appreciate that. I'm going to sign off now and end the show. If you would like to hang out afterwards, please do.
Bye, everybody.
Well, there you go. We had 4 wonderful minds, 3 for sure. And wow, the things I picked up. And share this out with people if you found some value in it, and be prepared to pay attention to what's going on in the Business Renovator. If you know of somebody who has a story to tell that you think would benefit the world, make an introduction. Looking to have terrific people just like the ones we had on today. So let me just wrap this show up. Not that button, Phil. It's this button. So we'll see you on the next episode of the Business Renovator.
I get shit done, I have fun. It's my time and I'm the one. I'm breaking through.